Hello, we are Group 1 and we did our case study on PowerChina.
In this presentation, we are examining PowerChina's global expansion strategy and the key factors that influence to move into international markets and the potential risks that the company could face as it continues to grow. We compare three options, wait and save, further internalization, and de-internalization, and we evaluated which path we think would be best for PowerChina's long-term success. We provided a recommendation on how the company can strengthen its ERM to operate more safely and effectively around the world.
Okay, so in our analysis, the first thing that we looked at in regard to the case was the dominant factors that contributed to the organization's international strategy that they initially adopted. Okay, so here we have a just mini timeline, and this is essentially showing what happened when they had an inactive approach to their international strategy. So in 1964, a predecessor of the firm, they carried out an overseas project that was happening in Guinea. And this was one of the first of China's enterprises to kind of carry out anything overseas. So it was a very big deal. Then in 1982, a subsidiary of the firm entered the Lubouge hydropower project. And this was one of the first projects, again, in China that actually was funded by the World Bank through a loan. And I'm going to get into a little more detail of why this specific timestamp is important in a minute. And then another key thing that happened in 1985 was they took their tentative kind of first step into operating internationally. So this was, again, like a predecessor of the firm, and they became one of the first of Chinese foreign economic subcontractors. Okay. A really key thing to look at here is that in China's expansion globally, especially in terms of hydropower and energy sector, PowerChina was really, what's it called? They were really a part of the initial expansion, the entrepreneurial aspect of it. And so to be part of, I'm one of the first, definitely a big deal and kind of setting the tone for this overall. Okay, so the key thing is that all of those things I just described was kind of the early exposure to the international market for PowerChina. And in 1982, when they were a part of the Lubouge hydropower project, a key thing that resulted from this was in China, the entire hydropower industry finally recognized the value of modern enterprise of operations. Now, because PowerChina was operating in this industry and they were directly involved in that project that caused change, they were able to adopt this modern enterprise system. And this modern enterprise system really presented the opportunity for them to pursue international operations going forward. Okay, so around 1993 is where they decided to go from their previous inactive approach to more of a proactive approach. So before 1993, essentially they just were having sporadic business approaches to, if an opportunity arose, then they would seize it. But it wasn't that they were actively on the lookout for things to operate internationally. By 1993, they decided, okay, we've seen our past success and we've gotten this exposure. We've seen how well we can do. Let's actually take a more proactive stance and pursue this. So yes, essentially, they used their management initiatives to really go forward with this. They also went ahead and established foreign offices in different countries. They participated very actively in international bidding, and they adopted the EPC model. Okay, so another key thing here is they weren't officially recognized as PowerChina until they merged all of their businesses into a single conglomerate in the time frame of 2000 to 2005. So when they did that, another key aspect of that merging was that they decided to centralize their international operations, and they used their Sino Hydro brand, which is one of the things actually mentioned previously in their early exposure stage, where they get local kind of they get local recognition through their brand, but they also have that strong parent conglomerate backing to really show their international strength. This increased their efficiency and solidified their position in global competition. Okay, some other factors that heavily contributed to their international strategy. They had very diverse operations. So they had services in construction, energy, and resources, and they were successful in all of these different areas as well. This allowed them to enter into multiple foreign markets and sectors. Innovation and risk management was also a factor here. So they had a good emphasis on technology, planning, and risk awareness, which allowed them to succeed in high value and high risk international markets. Finally, they had heavy backing and support from the government and aligned with certain policies as well. They were supervised by the SASAC and aligned with the Chinese government priorities, which also helped provide with them with financing, credibility, and access to large-scale projects abroad.
Hi, so I'm going to speak about the wait and see strategy. So, the wait and see approach in risk management is when a company would monitor risk before taking action. PowerChina can use this strategy to handle overseas political and operational challenges by observing situations, gathering information, and responding when necessary. Pros would include minimizing reactions to political instability, provide time to gather information and research before making a decision. Resources are conserved and allowing the company to focus on high priority risk. Cons would include delayed response, and that might increase political issues and regulatory risk, weak communication, supply chain disruption, and financial issues. And it may not be suitable for projects that are critical or require an immediate response.
Internalization is when a company expands its operations into a foreign market to access new opportunities. And for Power China, the pros of this is that there are more market opportunities with access to high demand. There's stronger global brands, which could improve their reputation and competitiveness, as well as skill development and diversification, and as well as economies of scale, which lowers costs through shared resources and global operations. The cons of this is that there is obviously a potential political and financial risk where unstable companies with weaker economics can disrupt the projects, as well as the legal challenges they could face, where different countries have different laws and different regulations, and this could cause an issue as well. Cultural differences like the languages, the labor rules, and all that could also play a part in the cons that internationalization could have, as well as high capital requirement that is needed to expand overseas.
So for my section, I'll be looking at the internationalization strategy. It basically means scaling back operations in certain foreign countries, especially the ones that are high risk or let's say low return. It's not a full exit from global market, but a targeted pullback that reduces exposure to political or financial instability. So we can go through the pros of this first. So it reduces Power China's exposure to political and regulatory risk. Many of the companies face these challenges like unstable financial conditions, let's say government changes or delays that come from working in politically uncertain countries. Moreover, de-internalization gives the companies a chance to stabilize internally. Power China's ERM system is still receiving and communicating between headquarters and overseas offices, which is a weak factor. Reducing complexity would basically help the company strengthen its risk and management. The disadvantages that come with the internalization are reducing international activity means losing market share in very fast growing regions like Africa, South Asia, or let's say Middle East. Global competitors could easily fill that gap, but again, it also reduces economies of scale since private China benefits heavily from a large global operations. So overall, de-internalization reduces short-term risk, but it also comes with long-term strategic costs.
After reviewing the different possible strategies to undertake, we decided to continue with the internationalization strategy. So we recognize that the issue here is the challenges of high levels of competition with low levels of political stability and an overall downturn in the market's performance. However, the performance of PowerChina has seen overwhelmingly positive results in their overseas production and operations. Therefore, the firm is in the best position to continue moving forward with their internationalization strategy.
Over here, I'll be explaining how PowerChina can strengthen its enterprise risk management system by shifting from reactive responses to a more proactive supply chain inspired approach. PowerChina should adopt a proactive ERM approach that will include mapping risks across global projects early, similar to supply chain mapping. Decision trees can help evaluate major choices such as market entry, financing, or resource allocation by weighing outcomes and consequences. Before entering new international markets, the company must conduct through risk assessments to account for political, financial, and operational, as well as competitive risk. Additionally, forecasting tools like scenario analysis and early warning indicators should complement or replace internal surveys, enabling the company to anticipate threats and manage risk proactively. And these steps would shift PowerChina from reacting to problems to optimizing risk management across its global operations.
So, in conclusion, Power China's global performance shows that the company has consistently succeeded in foreign markets. International projects have strengthened its brand, built technical expertise, and helped it compete at the same level as major global contractors. Even though there are challenges like political risk, communication issues, and market uncertainty, the benefits of being international still outweighs the drawback. However, it must be supported by stronger risk management practices. This includes improving their COSO based ERM system, using decision tree analysis, upgrading forecasting tools, and improving communications between the headquarters and overseas office. If Power China combines international expansion with better risk management process, it will be in the best position to grow sustainably and remain a leading global player. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.